All right, you're welcome to my YouTube channel once again, and in this tutorial we're going to continue our character modeling. So we're going to be modeling the hair before we start with the body. So once we're done with the hair, we'll go straight to our character body. Now let's do Shift A on our keyboard. Shift A on your keyboard, go to curve and bring in a circle. We have our circle here, and arrow X 90 on our keyboard to rotate that at the angle of 90 on the x-axis. We'll bring in a path. Shift A, go to curve and bring in a path, move it down to this place. We can say S to scale, and let's say arrow Y 90 is for our hair strand. So select this and come to object data property here, and we'll come to where we have bevel. So we're going to increase the depth of our hair strand, and now we're going to come to object and select the object, and we're going to link it with this circle here, and we have something like this. So you can see something like this. So now we'll go back to our front view again. So once I select this and I say tab for edit mode, if I make any adjustment on this, is going to affect the is going to affect the parts. So by this we can easily create different shapes of hair strand of our choice. Also, I'm going to select this now and move this upwards to this point, and select this and make this straight. Select this point and make this straight like this. So let's see what we got here. So we can still play around this also, and we can select this and select this point and select this point, make it look like a triangle. I think this is okay for us now. So now I can select this and hide this here. So now this is my hair strand, and one thing to know about hair, about this curve, is that if you click tab, if you say S, you can't just scale it. If you select and say S, unless you hold Alt S to scale, Alt S to scale. So you can scale downwards, and Alt S to scale. You can move. Ctrl T is to rotate the strand in different shape. So that's for that now, and we're going to take this strand in our front view here. We're going to move it to this point. In our right view, we're going to move it again to this point. So we can split our 3D windows and make this right and make this front. So we're just going to follow this hair form. We can rotate this and G to grab, and so we can really play along with this hair strand. So the point is that I don't want to use this hair for my character, so I want to improvise. So I'm going to hide these references. So I'm just going to do some improvisation. I want to create my own hair, so I'm just going to rotate this, I think, and move this forward. Move this to this point, and right view, you can say arrow to rotate. Move this to this point, arrow to rotate. You can say S to scale a little bit. And say tab for edit mode. I can now start moving this. Select this, I can push it this up, and I can move this way. I can select this and move this way. You can say Alt S and move this. So I'm going to close that later, but first I can select this and say Alt S to scale this a little bit. I can click G twice to grab and move. Alt S again, Alt S to scale this a little bit. So I can also play along and say E to extrude to this point. So this is like my hair now for my character, and I can also duplicate this, but first I need to arrange this well and tab. So I can say A to select all, push inwards. I want it looking like this. I'll do next, I'll say tab and I'll come to my front view and duplicate this, shift D to duplicate, right click to release and move, arrow to rotate, and tab. So I can select this and can do Ctrl T to rotate that, and then I can say Alt S to scale a little bit, but I'm just going to leave them this way and work on that later. Push this into this point and let me see how this looks. I can push this forward a little bit. And say tab again and shift D to duplicate, right click and say mirror on the X global and move to this point. We continue the process over here, and I'm going to select this and say tab. So now we can come to the front view and see how our hair looks like in both sides. So this is for the left view. And so select this and can hold shift and push this down a little bit. You can also say Alt S to scale. Just push down. Do the same for this. Alt S to scale a little bit. And let's just bring this downward. So basically we have this and this. So now I can see, so this is how the hair looks like, and we can also still duplicate more of this. So it just depends on how we want to create our character here. So it depends on your choice. So now select the character's head, and I'm going to select faces. I say hash slash to deselect. I'm going to select all this face. So now what I'm going to do now is very simple. I'm going to say Shift D to duplicate, P to separate, and select selection. So select this and say tab, and I can say 1 for vector selection. I can say slash so I can see. I can select this and say G twice. Can move them a little bit inwards. And say slash. I'm going to do this now and bring this forward a little bit, and to create something here. Control R to add just one loop cut. Don't think it's working, so I'll come back to modifiers panel and turn off this. So I will say 2 for edge selection, E to extrude, S to scale. I have something looking like this now. So 1 for vector selection, Alt Z, I can select that. I want curve, kind of curve for hair here. Say G twice and move that backwards. We can move that way, and for this we can adjust this back. Now you can say Ctrl arrow to add just one loop cut here. And let's move this backwards a little bit. This is just a simple character hairstyle, and you can also do so many things here, and the E to extrude, move downwards, backwards, and let's see, we need some references, and E again to extrude, say E to extrude to this point. And now we can just Alt Z and shape this in the right proportions. Say S to scale, move this inward a little bit. This is just basic character hairstyle. You can move this backwards now a little bit. Control arrow, just add one more loop cut here. Select this and delete this face. I don't think there's hair in the axis. Let's see. Let's do Control Z back. I think we need that, so we can just play around it. So let's just push these vertices. And we have our hair shape like this now. Now we can select this first and we can hide this, and let's go back. You can say tab for edit mode, and you can select the tip and say Alt S to scale. Select this tab and Alt S to scale. Tab, select this tab and Alt S to scale. We want to move these hair strands together in here, the front view. Scale this one. Move it inwards. Tab and move it inwards. Tab, move this inwards and move it inwards. So we can decide to select and do Shift D. Say tab and can say A and arrow to rotate. Say tab, and now let's see the back and see how here it goes, and say tab again. You can now come back and say Shift D to duplicate, right click, mirror X global, and move sideways. Move this down a little bit, and let's see outcome. Ctrl Z and say tab, and select the tip here, and you can say E to extrude, and move and select this and say Alt S to scale. But we don't want to do that. Let's do Ctrl Z back. Select this, and in the front view you can move this to this point, to this intersects. Tab, select this, Alt S, Alt S, and move this backwards and upwards. And bring this downward. So try to make something like this. Alt S, scale this looking thinner. So now we can now select all of them. Hold Shift, select all, and say Tab. What we do now is select all this. So we leave this other two, and I'm going to say E to extrude. Move to this point. Ctrl T. Give it a twist. E to extrude again. Ctrl T. Now let's see what we're doing. I'm sure it's nice, and so we can leave it this way, and can go back and say Tab. Say Tab for edit mode. Select all. And say Tab for edit mode, and this as well. Also push. So you can do Shift A. Let's bring in a tools. Just reduce the major segments. Do it as 22. And that's okay. And S to scale that very small. And on our right view, I need to move it this way. No. Reduce the toes. So I need to move it this way to this point. To say S to scale. S and Z to scale on the Z axis. Arrow to rotate a little bit. And S to scale. We'll come to our front view and do Alt Z, move this to the back, and S again to scale, and move it to this point. Yes, S to scale. Just have to be creative at this point now, and can select this also and make some adjustments here. There's a tab for edit mode. I can just push this, select this, hold shift. Okay, so I can say tab now and S. So Alt Z. So I'm going to push this Alt S, make that very small, and it's to cover that place up. I'll have to select this and see what I'm doing. And this is better now. Oh, I can delete these stories. I don't think it's working perfectly. I do Shift A, Shift A again. I'll bring in a cylinder this time around, and I think a cylinder will be okay for me to do the job. I will make this 18, and I'll say S to scale. Move it backward. See arrow X 90 and X, S and Y scale also. So in my right view, I will rotate and say S. I can move this window first and work on this side, and arrow twice to rotate that, and click G twice to move that. Say I to insert, just a little bit, and I to insert. D to extrude inwards, and Control R, just add two loop cuts. I can do Shift D now and duplicate this, and say S to scale a little bit, move this upwards. Just have to just play around with the hair, and now slash back to on hide. You can select this to have something like this. Now you can keep on making some adjustments here. So Now we can bring on our hair back, not this, and tab. So we can see what we've done here, and we can come now to what we call add a modifier called solidify modifier, and increase the thickness. We click on slash, can hide also. So what we don't want to do now is that, first of all, let's see how it looks like. So now we can hide it first, and one for vector selection, O for proportional editing, and let's increase the strength, and let's push these guys inward. Now when we turn it on and select this, and we can select this and move inwards a little bit. You can check around and push these guys inward. So we're done with that now. Let's give it a little bit thickness. Now, so what we do, that for this to work properly, we have to turn the thickness off first, and select this and activate the plane, and we're going to move this upwards, and now we can now activate it and click on slash on our keyboard. So we can now apply this and say tab. So if we turn on our shade smooth, this is what we have. We turn it off, so we can add one loop cut there. Control arrow here. This just give us this shape. But if you watch, this shape look very sharp. So it's giving us a very sharp edge here, which I don't want. So I will do Ctrl Z back. Ctrl Z back, and Ctrl Z and Ctrl Z back here to this point where I still have my mirror modifier. What I'll do next is that move this to this point. Now I can select this and G twice and move this up. So I can select this also, this point, and hold Control and G twice and move those line up. So I should turn this on. The effect will not be that much, just little. Say G twice. I can turn that on now and turn this on. So I still have something like this. So now I can now shape this tab and Alt S. Select all these also and push them backwards. See O, proportional editing. So select this thing. This is, yeah, that's okay now. It is okay now. So I have my hair like this now. Check for any loopholes so I can correct them. So now let's just go straight to the point and we're going to move. First of all, we're going to move this. We're going to uncheck this first and we're going to apply this in object mode and move this upward again and we're going to apply this. I'm going to say tab, you can say slash, add one loop cut here, control arrow. Oh, before we apply that, just have something to do next. So control Z back. First we apply this, tap to apply this, and we can cancel this back and select this and solidify. It's okay now, and we can now say apply. You can say slash and say control arrow, add one loop cut there to tie that, and say tab or Z, select this, O for proportional editing, and let's just shape this a little bit. Just bring this forward, control arrow, add one loop cut there, control arrow, add one loop cut there. So we have our character hairstyle like this, which is nice. So you can choose to create your own character hairstyle from scratch and see how it looks like. So this is my own character hairstyle and I love the way it looks. So we've come to the end of this level 3, and level 4 we're going to create the character body, the legs, the foot, and every other aspect of our character. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something new. Please don't forget to subscribe and like my YouTube channel. Thanks once again.